Shiny Iron Valiant, a mechanical knight from the future, cloaked in a ghostly white and teal glow. It's the kind of Pokemon that makes you stop and think, whoa, this thing is dangerous. And trust me, it is. But today, we're not just talking about looks. This is about power. About turning the tables when all hope seems lost. Because Terra Ghost Iron Valiant doesn't just fight. It haunts its opponents, phasing through what should have been its demise, striking back with devastating force. Your eyes do not deceive you. We are having a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet overused singles Wi-Fi battle versus Ike today. Ike is leading with Ambipom as I am leading with Goldfinger. By the way, now we're going to get sped up and get into the actual battle. By the way, if you know the theme of the team down below, or kind of any of the references, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, if you're excited for Legends Arceus, let me know in the comment section down below. Speaking of Legends Arceus, let's show that beautiful animation. I am most certainly not interested in Salazzle's corrosion toxic ability, allowing him to toxic my defensive Great Tusk. So I'm going to go out into McLean here for some comatose action, and that toxic is liberated. I'm going to surmise to guess that he also isn't interested in anything that I can go for. I just decided to go for a Wish as the Bisharp comes in here. Now, Bisharp can be a Violite. It could be fully offensive. Defensive and Violite is the set I see the most, but defensive or just offensive Dreadplate could be a thing too. And it works out, because I got to Rambo as a Swords Dance is what's shown to me from the Onyx Edge, and my physically defensive Rambo is definitely something that could take that kind of hit. By the way, if you recognize the themes or the references in the team, let me know in the comments section down below, guys. It is so nice to be back. I have been battling sickness. I'm getting used to a sleep schedule with 2 jobs. It is ridiculous. However, I'm not going to give you this long book report and long-winded reason why I haven't been here. I'm just going to leave it alone. Now, I'm thinking a Toxic is going to come from this oncoming Mandibuzz that comes in here, because physically defensive Mandibuzz could definitely take hits. He decides to go for Foul Play, and I know that's not very effective on my Great Tusk, even less so that Great Tusk, the one that I have in this battle, is physically defensive. So, Supernova takes about 33%, and I then think, okay, now he'll Toxic for sure. And that's also a horrible play. But it works out because he doesn't end up going for anything. He just decides to swap back out into Venomous. Now, we keep getting the exchange of Salazzle and Komala, and I'm thinking the way that he keeps swapping it out without hazards being on the field, which I could have very much put up already, I'm thinking it's going to be Focus Sash. I do get that call right on a Violite Bisharp as I knock off the Violite. Komala actually does quite a bit of work, but that's for another battle. Iron Head just bounces off of Rambo. I think the Leftovers recovery pretty much got all of that out of the way. And I'm thinking, okay, now is a perfect opportunity to throw in Stealth Rocks. I'm thinking, like I said, if that Salazzle is Focus Sash, I want to go ahead and get rid of that. Also, this is a perfect play because either the Defog or the Toxic from the oncoming Mandibuzz is a perfect target into Goldfinger. The Defog, of course, immune because of the ability Good as Gold, and of course Toxic because I am the Steel typing. Even if I was regular typing, having the Good as Gold ability, like, it works out perfectly. Too bad other Pokemon can't get that ability through, like, Skill Swap, Entrainment, anything like that. That would be kind of neat. Anyway, I decided to trick Mandibuzz a Choice Scarf here, which usually that would be huge. However, the Foul Play does just about 50%, but not quite. And then I was like, okay, surely he knows I'm going to go out to something maybe Great Tusk. He's going to go for a Toxic. Nah. Foul Play, 55%. Komala has a ton of attack. I don't even think mine is invested in attack. And I took about 55% from that Foul Play. And I was like, okay, I don't want to really wish. I don't have leftovers, so I'm just going to go ahead and go for Protect here. As the Foul Play, of course, does not do a whole lot there. I've got boots instead of leftovers on the Komala so that I have that wish passing tank to freely switch in. I'm going to go to Bloodsport here. Bloodsport, of course, gets the Quark Drive on the switch in, which is going to double my speed, basically giving me about 500 speed. I do quad resist Foul Play. He does get a crit on that. However, I do quad resist it with Fairy and Fighting typing, so that is pretty cool. Now, looking at his team, he doesn't have a whole lot to answer me. And I was like, okay, this is a perfect opportunity. I've got Stealth Rocks up, and I am like the fastest thing alive. He would have to go into something like Super Scarfed with a lot of high base speed to outspeed me as I set up the Swords Dance. Now, I'm almost positive defensive Melodic, which I'm assuming to be physically defensive. It might actually be specially defensive, seeing getting burned there, knowing it's going to have the Marvel Scale ability. I go for Close Combat, does a nice 70% chunk. He goes for a Scald. I live it on 6, no burn to me. After looking at the burn residual damage, I'm like, I don't think I can take this thing out with a Shadow Sneak. I'm going to have to go for another Close Combat. Luckily, Aqua Tail is not a slotted move that Melodic tend to go for, so another Close Combat easily wipes it off of the map. I was thinking, okay, I might as well, I would hate to go for Sneak and then not get the damage range and then get knocked out. Rascal's going to come in here. Now, these things can be Focus Sash as well. Sometimes they're like Normal Gem or Silk Scarf. I decide to turn the tables with Terra Ghost. This thing is obviously going for a Fake Out, and I am not interested in dying to that. And that allows me to go for a Close Combat. Since there is no potential Focus Sash broken by these Stealth Rocks now, I can knock this thing out with Close Combat, and there'll be no monkey business today. Alright, now he goes out back to Onyx Edge, and now it's like, okay, maybe I can play the game here. I'm going to go for a Shadow Sneak, predicting him to go for Sucker Punch. I'm way faster than him. Terra Ghost actually does pretty well. I do get a crit, though, and that tells me that that did a lot. I could play Swords Dance Mind Games to try to work around Sucker Punch. And it could work out in my favor to get that Close Combat and get yet another knockout into the Bashar. I go for another Shadow Sneak, I just want damage, and it does pretty well even without the crit, but he does not go for the Sucker, he just goes for an Iron Head, I guess predicting me to set up to try to play Mind Games around his Sucker Punch. But a great job either way. I'm looking at this, I've got Rambo at full health, he does not have a Swords Dance boost, and he's at low health. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't have an Earthquake switch. Oh, wait. Yeah, he still has Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is, like, so obvious. But I don't think Ice Spinner would knock him out from here. And I'm really not sure what I want to do. He does end up going back to carry on the Mandibuzz as I make a double out into Goldango. Once again, Toxic Defog. I'm pretty sure I could take a Foul Play low, maybe go for like a Make It Rain, maybe a Focus Blast. Then I decide to double swap again into Rambo. I guess predicting that Foul Play, which, as I said earlier, I take, and it would take incredibly well. I believe the Leftovers actually recovers all of that HP for me, as now I can just go for an Ice Spinner, because I have got to bring this thing down low. And it looks like it is indeed bold physically defensive from the way that I'm looking at it. It's really cool that Mandibuzz can do that, since it can use its opponent's offensive strength against it while not having to have very much offense itself. It's a pretty cool tank, and something back in lower X and Y that I actually really liked a lot. Also, I like the bone in the hair. It's just a very neat accessory and a cool Pokemon overall. But from this range, I can take out this Mandibuzz with 3 Ice Spinners and recover all of that HP and a little bit more, maybe an extra 1/4 HP after everything is said and done with the Leftovers, as these Foul Plays aren't doing much damage, but he doesn't really have any other options to hit me. I've not seen Flying Stab Mandibuzz, so that would be very interesting. However, I do have physically defensive Great Tusk, and I'm pretty sure it can handle whatever my opponent wanted to go for here. In comes this Venomous. I know at some point he is just going to go for a Toxic or Fire Blast, and the biggest thing is I cannot bring Rambo to revengeable range because I'm not Assault Vest, so Fire Blast would hurt a lot. In comes my Supernova to take this Fire Blast, and he could also go for Toxic, but because he doesn't have that potential Sash that we were talking about all game, and the game plan around Salazzle, knowing that it had that Focus Sash most likely, Earth Power takes out Venomous, and down it goes. This was actually one of the longer battles. I would say I would really like Game Freak to fix that timer and make it longer battles. I mean, I know you can do that like with private events and friends, and you can't do it like. But I want it like in general where you have the option to have longer battles, because people do tend to use stall teams, and it's really hard to break it into a 20-minute battle. Anyways, he goes for the protect on turn 1, and I'm thinking he's just going to close combat right away. I don't particularly have a switch into this other than Great Tusk. However, he didn't boost his offensive stats, so I'm not super worried about taking close combat with Great Tusk. I still have Great Tusk in the back as kind of like my insurance policy, knowing that I can take whatever from Blaziken and his other physical attackers. I also have Dragonite, and he does not have Stealth Rocks on the field, so multi-scale isn't broken, so that's also helpful. I'm very curious what this thing decides to go for. Do you have Brave Bird coverage? No, you don't. Close combat does not do that much. And an Earthquake is going to take the Blaziken out, and down it goes. 35 seconds left on the clock. A little bit left over his recovery. Not quite back in the green health, as his last Pokemon is his good old Onyx Edge, his Eviolite Bisharp. Guys, if you are as excited for Legends Arceus, make sure you subscribe to check out more Wi-Fi battles, primarily doubles, and I'll see you guys in the next game. We are back, and it's time for more uploads. I'll see you guys then. Take care, rate, comment, subscribe, and, of course, power on, power off.